Check. You still haven't seen the swag yet, just wait for it. So you guys must be wondering why I just did what I did. It's a fairly valid question. An obvious answer which comes to mind is, maybe he's looking for attention. The key word here is attention. You know, way back in school, my teachers used to use this phrase, which I absolutely hated. Of course, back then I did not understand the why and how of it, but just the fact that I despised it. The phrase was, pay attention. This was followed by a teacher throwing a piece of chalk at me. Today, when I think about the semantics of this phrase, it makes sense to me completely. Pay attention. Of course, attention is a currency, and it's a currency whose value is fast declining, if I may go as far as to quantify it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am Abhay Kumar. I am a filmmaker. Funny to stand here today in front of you all, presuming I can tell you something which you already don't know. In fact, when I first got the invite to speak here, the first thing I did was to Google how to give a TED talk. It's interesting to note here, all sort of fascinating things start showing up when you type how to in the Google search bar. Despite my very serious intent to figure out on how to deliver an impressive speech, before I knew what was happening, I was watching the following video. Seriously, it's very difficult to compete for attention with a beatboxing goat. As a filmmaker, it's very annoying for me when I show my films to people and they're busy checking their phones for a message received, or even if it's just to check the time. Of course, it's completely plausible that the film I'm showing them is completely boring and they're easily distracted. But what worried me was when I realized that I'm doing exactly the same thing even while watching the films which I liked. And that was the last straw. I decided to observe my behavior over the next few days to figure out what's happening. In terms of a typical viral social media experiment which you see so much of these days, this could be summed up in the following headline. A guy decides to not respond to a WhatsApp message and the results are shocking. Friends, I realized that I was making less eye contact with people when they were talking to me. My eyes were darting left and right, up and down, not unlike the movement of eyes when we scroll through text while reading on a smartphone or a laptop. I had stopped reading books. Or worse, my reading habits had been altered in the most obnoxious way possible. I had 4 half-read books lying around, with me preferring to go through inane articles about everything and anything under the sun, rather than committing myself to finishing one book. Think of it as a bibliophilic promiscuity of sorts. In conversations, more often than not, my sentences were beginning before the others had finished theirs. Now, this was particularly strange for me as an individual, having spent the last 3.5 years working on my feature film with a single-minded focus. In fact, I made a lot of sacrifices to make sure that my film gets made. For example, I did not watch Game of Thrones. I was the guy who did not know who Tyrion Lannister was, or what people meant when they wrote "Winter is coming" on their Facebook walls. Nah, I knew about it. I'd read the books way back when I could read books. Even though today it's difficult for me to read books, I still love reading quotes. Nothing better than a quote to get the point across. Way back in 1977, Nobel Prize-winning economist Herbert Simon predicted this information-rich age. And he spoke about it, and I quote, "What information consumes is the attention of the recipients. In a world which is wealthy in information, there will be a poverty of attention," unquote. Ladies and gentlemen, you might or might not relate to these incidents that I've shared with you. But it is an indisputable fact that today, as a species, all of us are collectively undergoing an exponential decrease in attention span, and it's inversely proportional to the amount of information which we are consuming every day. In 1637, René Descartes famously quoted, "Cogito, ergo sum," translated to, "I think, therefore I am." In the modern day, it would not be wrong to modify that quote as, "I log in, therefore I am." Which one of you present here has not felt a sense of asphyxiation, utter panic of life-threatening proportions when faced with the scope or a prospect of no internet? Or worse, a slow internet. Today, I will not give you any statistics. I will not show you any graphs, pie charts, or statistical data. I will not share with you the research about the stress hormone cortisol, which is produced in the brain when it's faced with the prospect of multitasking. I will not talk about the metabolic cost of rapidly shifting brain activity, because the research is out there. Friends, our brains are busier than ever before. Our attention span divided over a multitude of tasks. Our efficiencies and attention span taking a nosedive. This is the point where the filmmaker in me starts to get worried. As a creator of content, I can't help notice how rapidly the consumption of that content is changing. Because of the drastically reduced attention spans, there's a constant pressure on filmmakers to make shorter films. Come to the point quickly. Tell us what's happening fast. Do not linger. I remember I was trying to show a short film of mine to a friend. She could not watch it completely. She was getting distracted quite easily. She said she'll watch it later on and get back to me. I forgot all about it until one day I received a text from her telling me how much she loved it. Then she also told me she tried showing it to a couple of friends, but they were not able to watch it. When I asked why, she said it's because the information comes a little slowly in the film and they wished you could have told them what's happening a little faster. Sure, I can tell you what happens faster, but then what about the experience? When I shared this problem with some peers of mine, their answer to me was, YouTube is the future. They were excited by the prospect of creating viral content, monetizing it, and reveling in the millions of likes on their videos and channels. And again, that got me questioning. But then, what about the experience? Can you think of the last time you had a profound cinematic experience while watching a film on YouTube? Anyone? I can't think of any. In fact, of all the films which have educated me, inspired me, challenged me, stimulated me, even corrupted me, none of them have I seen on YouTube. Of course, as a creator of content, it's always challenging to find means and ways how to get that content across to your audience. But friends, there's a deeper and a more menacing mechanism at work here. And that is the constant externalization of our thoughts and ideas. I've noticed that because of the various channels available to us to broadcast our infinite bandwidth of thoughts and feelings, Somewhere, the individual relevance and importance of those events have gotten lost. Be it the news of a family member's death, the announcement of a new baby, or a relationship status. Everything is met with a stream of likes and comments. Instant gratification. Livin' la vida loca. At this point, I would like to share with you a small excerpt from a short film of mine, which is relevant to the current discussion.
As a man watched the people pass him by on the street, he wondered what each of them was thinking. He wondered if thoughts made people who they are, or if it was the other way around. What if thoughts were floating all around us, waiting for someone to claim them as their own? He felt he was on the brink of a great realization. Almost there, but not quite yet. At that moment, he decided to release some thoughts in the universe.
He felt he was on the brink of a great realization. Almost there, but not quite yet. Friends, if I had to make the same film again today, the man on the bench would be busy on his smartphone when the realization of his life passes him by. For those who want to tell stories, I would like to take this platform and urge all of you to stop for a moment and take stock. The change which is happening around us is inevitable. In fact, it's already happened. So what do we do about it? Do we continue telling our stories the way we've always had? Or do we adopt a radically different approach? I certainly don't have the answer to that. But what I do know is that we can hold ourselves to a better storytelling standard. Let us not get scared of challenging our audiences. Let us not shy away from committing time and resources into creating stories and telling them in their best possible version. If the answer of the future is YouTube, then let's fill it with content of amazing pedigree. Let's beat the beatboxing goat. It's going to be tough. Which brings me to our friend, Russian filmmaker Andrei Tarkovsky. Tarkovsky once famously quoted and compared cinema to the art of sculpting in time. In the modern day of 3D printing, I doubt anyone has the time to appreciate the making of a fine sculpture. Which reminds me, Hmm, 12 likes. Bad day to get attention. Wait. The talk is not finished yet. Hold on to your claps. There's a small quiz. Wait, I will pick one member of the audience and I will ask them a question. And if you don't know the answer, God help you. You with the specs. Can you tell me the name of the Nobel Prize winning economist I mentioned during my talk? Okay, I'm not responsible for what happens now. Pay attention next time. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.